Hello, my love.
Hello, can you hear me okay?
I can.
Okay, perfect.
So I just started our live, so I'm going to let a couple people come on in and then we can chat for a quick moment. But I am excited about this. Oh my goodness.
I am too. I'm
pumped.
so excited to share my story with everybody.
So just for the individuals that are coming on in, let me know if you can hear her correctly. Are you capable of hearing us properly? So that way we want to make sure that everybody's capable of hearing and understanding what may be going on. So that way it could be super, super efficient. Today we can do another success story. I haven't done one in a hot minute, but in all honesty, that's because I've had so many. I've had so many people have so much success, and then in true fashion, they obviously kind of go off and live their lives and they're very happy and fulfilled. So then to even recollect all the individual people I need to reach out to, I'm like, oh my God, I'm so exhausted. I'm like, how am I even going to get contact with some of them again? But I'm so happy that we were able to at least schedule this, because I need to be more on top of my game, because people love the interviews. You know what I mean?
Yes. It's very encouraging to hear other people's success stories regularly.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm going to give you guys maybe 1 more minute or so if you want to share it out to any of your friends or anything of that nature. It is entirely up to you. And we are going to get started. And of course, as she continues to speak about her story, please do put in the chat down below, any types of questions, comments, concerns that you may have, and she will be more than happy to answer it. Obviously, I'm trying to keep my lives a little bit shorter so that way when they get repurposed up on YouTube, which this will absolutely go on YouTube, it becomes easier to watch. So yeah. Do you want to start? Are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready. So I guess I should start in the beginning, right? How I found your content.
Yeah.
So I was dating my SP. So this is going to be an SP success story. We were dating for about 8 months, so not very long. And due to what I now realize was a poor self-concept, I created a lot of issues in the relationship, and we ended up breaking up. So I ended up pushing him away, and we had a really messy breakup. It did not end well. I literally thought that was the end of that. And I wasn't ready to let him go. I still had feelings. I knew that he still had feelings for me. And I think around that time, I was flipping through TikTok, and one of your videos came up, and you were talking about the law of assumption. So this is the first time I had heard about the law of assumption. I've heard of manifestation before, but I think you were explaining your, the equation?
Yeah, the equation, the manifestation equation. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so it really caught my attention because I had never seen any other creator at the time explaining the equation the way you did. So something really clicked in my head, and I decided to give it a shot. So I started watching more of your content. I immediately started to follow, and I think I just started watching a lot of your TikTok videos. So it started with the TikTok videos, and then you came out with the brain dump exercise. And again, this was the first time that I had seen a coach on TikTok break it down that way.
Yeah.
And you explained it extremely well, because I've heard of doing a brain dump before from other coaches, but they never really break it down the way that you did.
Yeah.
So it made perfect sense, because when I started watching your videos in the beginning, I started to do affirmations for my SP, but I wasn't doing the self-concept work.
Right.
And so when you started to explain the brain dump and how to come up with your own affirmations for your specific situation, I started to do that. And it was probably really challenging to do for me because, in the beginning, it was probably the most challenging thing to do, because I really had to sit down with myself and get honest about where my insecurities were coming from, and really take a look at how I created that mess, the breakup. You know what I mean? It's kind of hard to take responsibility sometimes. So I had to do that. And I came up with my affirmations. I literally did everything you said to do in that video.
Perfect.
And then I just started binge watching your material, not in an obsessive way or anything, but more like I was a student in a classroom. I just started to take your teachings and apply everything you were talking about.
Yeah.
And then one of your videos, you talked about your YouTube. So I started watching your YouTube videos while I was at work. Every morning I would watch one of your YouTube videos. And you're very informative, so I'd have to rewatch a lot of your material because there's a lot of information in your content.
Yes.
And I just started to do everything. The meditations you put out, I started to do, just apply everything that you were teaching. I just took what you put out there and I ran with it.
Yeah.
And then I started to go on your lives. Your lives, by the way, are extremely helpful. You were doing lives almost every day around that time.
Yeah.
And it really helps because there were some times when I would start to feel myself spiraling in doubt.
Yeah.
So because this was all new to me, so there was a little bit of doubt to it. You know, I wasn't sure if it was real or another TikTok gimmick or what. You know, I'd never done any of this work before. There were times when I did feel a little bit emotional because you're literally purging, I guess you could say, a lot of aspects of your old self. So there were times I was feeling emotional and I was getting intrusive thoughts. So when I would start to feel that, I would do your meditations, watch your videos, and your lives were extremely helpful. They just helped to stabilize me a lot. And I think in one of your lives, you mentioned that you were starting to you were doing one-on-one coaching calls.
Mm-hmm.
And during this time, me and my SP were in no contact. I think he reached out right before I booked a coaching call with you, but only to tell me that he mailed my stuff that was over at his house over to my address.
Okay.
And that crushed me because I took it like a goodbye, you know, like, oh my gosh, it's official. Like he's basically getting rid of all my stuff, so it's official. And I decided to book a coaching call with you because my birthday was coming up in a few months, and I made my mind up that I wanted my man before my birthday came up, you know, before
Nothing
the
wrong with
holidays.
that.
What was that? I'm sorry?
No, I just said, like, nothing wrong with that. Especially, I think a lot of people are having that realization around the holidays, too. Like, listen, I just want my man for my birthday. Like, listen, I just want my man for the holidays. Like, that's what it reminded me of.
Yeah, and my birthday's in September, so it's, like, right before all the holidays, you know?
Yeah.
And I think we broke up in, like, July. We were broken up, and then I think I started watching October or around that time. I'm not sure. It feels like it happened so fast, but so I decided, okay, I'm determined to get my man before my birthday, before the holidays, so I'm going to book a coaching call with her because I'm really loving her content. I would say like 90% of the time I was feeling really, really good. My self-concept was a lot better. My anxiety was lower. I had depression for years, and I started to notice that I was starting to feel better and better every single day. I had my moments. There were moments where, the anxiety would come in and stuff, but overall I did notice an improvement in my self-confidence, in my self-concept overall. And more and more of the stuff I was consuming, your material, it just started to click more and more in my head. And I decided, okay, I'm going to book a coaching call with her. And everything went great. I think I told you a little bit about my situation. You gave me some homework to do.
I did.
And I did everything you told me to do in that coaching call. And I kid you not, less than a week later, my SP reaches back out. And he texted me while I was at work, and he told me, I just wanted to wish you an early happy birthday. And I bought you a gift. I mailed it to you. And we started talking a little bit, and then he just started telling me that he missed me. And basically all of the affirmations you told me to say, he started repeating back to me. Like he couldn't get me out of his mind. There's no one like me.
How,
I mean, and
how did I
it
even
was,
do such wizardry? Like, you know what I mean? Like, oh my goodness, I'm so surprised. I'm so shocked. I have no
I
clue.
don't know. I don't know what you did on that coaching call, but it was like immediate movement after our phone call. It
A
was
lot of
really
people
weird.
get immediate movement after phone call. You know, you're not the first one to tell me that. And I'm like, damn. You know what I mean? Pardon my French, but I was like, oh, okay. Like, and it's crazy because sometimes, like these days now, especially, I feel like some of my calls are getting so much more advanced and so much more in depth that it's like as soon as they get the call, the shift happens immediately. You know what I mean? Amazing. I'm sorry. Please continue.
It was very strange. I don't know if you're manifesting it for us. I don't know what's going on in that coaching call, but it worked. It like created immediate movement, not even a week later. And basically, he asked me for another chance. He asked me how I felt about, trying out our relationship again. And of course, I said yes. So we got back together literally before my birthday, like I had intended, or how I had decided I wanted. And then after we got back together, you announced that you were going to do a group coaching class on Facebook.
Yeah.
And I signed up immediately because I wanted to keep my SP. So I knew that there was still some self-concept work that I wanted to keep going with. And also I knew that it wasn't the end of my manifestation journey. There's still a lot of things that I'm working on manifesting. So, and also it's quite strange because after I had manifested my SP, I did notice some of the old story coming up again.
Right.
So I'm so happy that I decided to book that coaching class, because when those moments would come up, I'd have to remind myself, and a lot of the material you're posting in the group coaching class is extremely helpful. I mean, the videos are extremely detailed, and
I tell people it's like getting a mini PhD. You know what I mean? Like there's literally like, I tell, like some people still message me till date and they're like, I still rewatch those lives and I'm learning things each time I watch them.
Yes, I still rewatch your material even though I have my SP.
Yeah.
Because there are times, sometimes the old story will come up to test you.
Yeah.
And so I'm happy that I have that backup just in case, you know what I mean? And
of course.
And also, you're just so informative. There's a lot of detail, a lot to learn. I still don't feel like I've learned everything, you know what I mean? Even though I have watched a lot of your content, there's still so much that I want to go back and rewatch.
Yeah, of course.
So everything has been so helpful. Everything you've put out has helped me tremendously, and I am just so grateful. So grateful to you.
Listen, I am glowing. I am glowing. I'm so happy. And it makes me so happy because it's like these are the types of like successes that just make me smile ear to ear, because like for a long period of time, she had not worked with me, actually. She had literally just worked using my free teachings. And the free teachings were capable of helping her, what she's referring to in the form of manifestation equation, that used to be out here on my page. Because of some weird content creators, I had to take it down temporarily while I get it copyrighted, but you have every reassurance to know that I verbally speak it in my videos. I do teach it in my group programs, the relaunching of the self-concept course, and the 2.0 version, which is the obsession course, is happening in this upcoming like 30 days or so. And then I also teach it in one-on-one coaching. Now, this is like a really great example. She did all the free teachings. She binge watched everything. She took the time out, took the energy out, and invested it into herself. She showed up to lives, probably with paper and pen like most people do, and literally took notes. And I find that to be so cute and so comical to me, because what do I always say? I say that I'm an educator first. So when people come and tell me that they bring pen and paper to lives and they take notes because of all the little gems that I drop, like you don't understand how much that like fulfills like my soul. Like you don't even understand. You don't even understand like the gaping hole that's in my chest that gets fulfilled when you guys say things like that. Because literally the amount of education that I've got in my head, It's so validating as someone who at one point in time had a little bit of imposter syndrome herself. You know what I mean? Like, I was always like, nobody's going to want to hear me talk. And imagine, like, that's all people want to hear. That's literally all people want to hear. People are like, just talk, just keep talking, just keep talking, like, just keep going, keep going. And I just find that to be, like, so hilarious. Like, so hilarious.
Yes. I literally felt like I was a student in a classroom. Like, that's how I treated the material that you put out.
As you should.
Like,
you took it seriously and you got serious results. Like, literally, that's how I see it. The people sometimes that just, watch something and then keep scrolling, but then they don't apply. Like, those are the people that I wish would take things a little bit more seriously, because the answers are there. You know what I mean? The ability to get added help is just a bonus should you have some type of disconnect.
Absolutely. No, you cover everything in your videos, and you, like I said, you're so informative. And I feel like for me, the lives and all the extra stuff you do is more like support, but the material is there. It's there. And I don't know, for me, I was just determined to get my manifestation no matter what, and to get the support that I needed no matter what. And that's why I decided to go with the coaching call.
Yeah. No, I love it tremendously. And the beauty that you did, I think, which was also very clever, you did one personal coaching call in the form of, having me problem solve and break down some very tangible issues that you had. And then you got the group program. And in the group program, and I just find that, and I find any resource that's like a permanent resource to be super helpful. And you touched on that a little bit. You're like, I still want to go back and I still want to watch things and I still want to do that. And although, of course, I recommend personal coaching because I feel like the support is just like no other, I also do highly recommend, should your budget not entail that for you, get something like how people are mentioning in the comments, like a blueprint, like Natalie mentioned, a blueprint, or a digital item where it's like you get to keep that forever. I can't even begin to tell you how many courses I've bought, and I thank myself every day for it, because I could literally go back and watch it like 1 year later, 2 years later, 5 years later, and it's like, that's mine. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's my investment in myself. And I feel like I want that for you, because should you have a fumble, you also have an answer key on how to deal with that fumble.
Yes, absolutely. And there's a few things I manifested after getting my SP back, and it was because I continued the work. Yes. You know what I mean? I was still in the group with I was still taking your group coaching, and I actually manifested him to decide all on his own to stop drinking. So he wasn't like a hardcore alcoholic or anything, but he did like to drink quite a bit on the weekends, and it was starting to bother me. So I just decided, I'm going to manifest him to decide all on his own to just quit drinking. And so he's been sober. So that was another thing that I manifested.
So what happened? You set that intention, or you persisted in it despite your 3D evidence, and then just one fine day he just came to you and said, like, I've made this decision?
Yeah, I told myself, you know what, I basically affirmed he has already made up his mind to quit drinking and get sober. All on his own. So anytime, anything triggered me or the thought would come up, I would just affirm that, and I would just know that it was just going to happen. He was just going to conform. I don't know. I just kind of knew it was going to happen.
And I think you had a lot of proof also up to that point in time in your manifestation journey. Yeah.
Yeah, I had less doubt because I had already manifested my SP back and a couple other things too. So I just knew it was going to happen. And sure enough, about a week later, and I didn't mention anything to him. I did not tell him that his drinking was bothering me or anything like that. I didn't ask him to stop drinking, and I never mentioned it to him. So a week later, after I had started affirming that, I literally, I think I only affirmed it a couple of times and then I let it go. I just trusted that it was going to happen.
Yeah.
And about a week later, he brought it up to me. He just said, you know what, I've been thinking and I think I want to stop drinking. I want to get sober. And that was it.
I am flabbergasted. I am speckeldorfed and other big SAT words, ones that I cannot think of right now. But I do have a couple of questions for you from the comment section, but can we just do like, I know nobody can hear each other or see each other, but I'm just going to do like snaps for that. She just decides like her boyfriend's done drinking, and guess what? He just comes and is like, I just think I want to stop drinking. Like, I can't imagine where he got that idea from, guys. I just don't even know. I don't know how it happened. It's so crazy. It's so crazy, guys. It's so crazy. But anyway, we have one or two questions over here. Might have missed this part, but how often were you affirming, and did you ever feel like it was overkill?
Well, I affirmed as much as I felt I needed to. So every morning, it was the first thing I would do throughout the day, because I was getting a lot of intrusive thoughts in the beginning.
Yeah.
This work, I mean, your subconscious will literally fight you.
I told you.
So I wasn't perfect. So yeah, I would affirm anytime I had anxiety, anytime the doubt started creeping up throughout the day, just regularly, anytime I felt like I needed to, especially when I started to feel the doubt. Or when I started to feel myself spiraling. That was when I would pull out my affirmations and just, affirm. Or anytime I felt insecure.
Absolutely.
And I also think it's important to mention, because you make it pretty clear in your teachings that no matter what you're trying to manifest, it all comes down to self-concept.
In majority of instances, like literally 95%, I very rarely have people that come to me with like a perfect self-concept and their only problem is the conception of person. You know what I mean? Like that's such a minute percentage of my audience. Absolutely. I do stand by that.
Right. So anytime I would have doubt about my SP, like, oh, he's not going to choose me, or, he's probably dating other girls, and I would start to affirm for my self-concept, because, that's all self-concept. That's all insecurity.
Yeah.
Not feeling good enough, not feeling like you're going to be chosen. So, yeah, every morning I would affirm throughout the day, like on my lunch break, I would do my affirmations. And anytime I would feel doubt or insecurity or any intrusive thoughts.
Perfect.
And then before bed.
Perfect. And I want to add one more up to what she's mentioning. Notice how she said a few important things that made my coaching ears stand up. In the very beginning, your brain will try to fight you. Your subconscious will try to resist you. And I feel like that's why so many people are not successful in the manifestation community, and why such a huge majority, like I'd say above 50%, are still just hopping from content creator to content creator because they're in the absence of their desire. They don't have a guide or someone that can lead them through. So I'll give an example of what I'm trying to articulate. Let's just pretend I'm the student and my beautiful person over here is the teacher. And if I start to affirm a new routine that counters all my previous fears, worries, doubts, insecurities, and I start to experience a 3D purge, meaning opposite manifestations begin to happen, she has the knowledge that I need on what is even a purge. Why does it even happen? How do I conquer and handle a purge? What do I do when I start to get intrusive thoughts and overthinking? So many people, I feel, and this is my humble opinion, and I'd love to hear yours as well, I feel so many people fall off the bandwagon because they don't actually know the steps or phases of what manifestation comes with. So if I have a purge as an example and I don't know what a purge is and I don't know how to counter it, and I don't realize that I don't actually need to maybe change my routine. I don't need to change this up. I don't need to quit. I don't need to spiral. I don't need to doubt. You know what I mean? Like, do you get what I'm trying to say? Like, so many people just don't know why certain things happen, or why they occur or what is even happening that makes them start and stop, start and stop, start and stop, start and stop. And then they have these like crazy time frames they're manifesting for, like 1 year, 2 years, 5 years, and they're like, I just don't understand what I'm doing wrong. And I think it's like because they don't really know how or what or why things happen the way that they do. Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, there were moments when I would cry and I didn't even understand why I was crying.
Yeah.
During this, during the time I was doing this work.
Yeah.
Because it literally felt like my body was getting rid of, I don't know, like it was like a healing for me.
Yeah.
And so sometimes I was getting emotional and I didn't understand why. And I think a lot of people don't understand, like you said, what's happening. So they immediately think like, oh, it's not working, and
I'm doing something wrong, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, or they start to doubt and they start to flip-flop on themselves, if that makes sense. Like, absolutely.
So I have another question here. If you had any purges, how did you end up handling them?
Whenever I started to feel myself spiral, or when I would start getting emotional, because I did cry sometimes out of nowhere, because I missed my SP so much. I would, well, it depends. If I was out and about, like sometimes I'd be driving and it would happen, I would listen to your sleep affirmation tape on YouTube. So I would put that on, I'd start to affirm. Anytime I started to feel myself spiral. Or I would put on one of your videos because it helps to remind myself like what I need to be doing.
Yeah.
And then, I would do one of your meditations. So
which one did you like?
Meditation videos.
Yeah. I'm curious.
There was one, I think it was called something like The Only...
I know what you're talking about. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I think it's like the only video to get in the state of the wish fulfilled. Yes.
Exactly. That one. So I would do that. It would help to stabilize me a lot when I would start to get doubtful or intrusive thoughts. And then I would just start to feel better. Yeah. Meditation, affirming. Your lives were super helpful. Anytime I saw you go live and I had like a really bad day, I would make sure to be the first one in that live. And like, I was just, I don't know. I think just rewatching your material, meditating and affirming. Those were the things that helped me stabilize.
Love that. I have another question here. What other areas of your life did you see positive results in as a result of self-concept?
Oh, yeah. So a lot of my coworkers started to treat me nicer. A lot of the guys, specifically at work, started to give me a lot more attention. There were guys asking for my numbers at work. And mind you, these were guys that I didn't really know that well. And all of a sudden they were giving me more attention. I started getting free food from some of the guys at work. It was very strange. And then a lot of people on Instagram too, because I'm active regularly on Instagram. I started getting a lot of friend requests out of nowhere, just random people reaching out to me, messaging me. It was very strange.
Crazy.
But I kind of knew, because you do mention that, people would come out, will come out of the woodwork. So I kind of expected that a little bit. But I also manifested an ex-friend back.
Nice.
She cut me off due to, I don't even know why she cut me off, to be honest. To this day, I really don't know what happened. I guess she just decided one day, she didn't like me very much and cut me off. I'm not sure exactly what happened, but I was really bummed out about it because I really did, value her as a friend. And I started doing this work and she just came out of the woodwork. She just messaged me one day and told me she missed me and wanted to meet up with me. And so we picked up where we left off, basically.
Love that.
And yeah, so the people were just nicer to me, and especially the guys.
Very nice. Very nice. I love it. Did you end up also manifesting some money, or am I forgetting, or am I misunderstanding?
I don't remember that there was... No, it wasn't money. It was, recently I manifested a trip to San Francisco.
Yes, I do remember that. That is correct. Yes,
Yes,
yes.
because our anniversary is on New Year's Day, and he had mentioned that there was a show in San Francisco, but then he decided he didn't want to go. And in my mind, I'm like, no, we're going, and because I've never been to San Francisco before. So he ended up calling me a few days later to tell me that he booked our hotel. And so we're going. I didn't, because he had made up his mind. He didn't want to make the drive out there. And, he had all these excuses.
How crazy.
And
How crazy. That's so weird, guys. What do you think? Don't you think that's freaking strange? You know what I mean? Like, he said he didn't want to go to San Francisco, and then all of a sudden she decided, and then all of a sudden we're going. It's just crazy. You have another appointment. Somebody else booked a therapy call with you. I'm so sorry. My father's in the background. Hang on. I'll tell. And all of a sudden she decided, and then all of a sudden we're going. It's just crazy. You have another appointment. Somebody else booked a therapy call with you. I'm so sorry. My father's in the background. Hang on. I'll tell you. So I'll tell you. So that's tomorrow. So 2 appointments for tomorrow.
So I have 5 calls tomorrow.
Yeah.
All right.
Bye-bye. Love you. Goodbye. You were dismissed. Okay, back to what we were saying. I'm so sorry. But no, that's amazing. That's incredible. And I mean, once again, it's just the validation of she made a decision. She had an unfortunate scenario in her 3D, and she just decided otherwise, and she just stayed true to it. Now, was it hard maybe when her partner said, you know what, I don't really want to go. I don't want to make the drive up. He made all these excuses. We are going to San Francisco. That's it. That's what it is. And if that's what it is, that's what will happen. And lo and behold, he called, I booked our tickets. Crazy. Isn't it just nuts, guys? I don't know. It's just so weird. It must be a coincidence, like not conscious manifestation, just a coincidence. Oh my God, I'm dying. I'm dying over here. Okay, I swear. I think we just have one more question. People are very intrigued by your story, so I do apologize. I know I'm keeping you a little bit longer.
It's totally fine.
But I think this is a really, really good question. Were you still kind of aware of the 3D, or were you delusional in like an, oh, we are together kind of way?
I was aware of the 3D in the sense where I would still get kind of triggered sometimes, but the trick is not letting yourself spiral.
Okay.
So taking action right when you start to feel like you're triggered. You know
Right.
what I mean? Like, so whenever I start to get triggered, now I started doing EFT tapping, which is amazing. So I'll do that. I'll meditate. I'll do my affirmations as long as I have to get myself in a more stabilized mood.
Right.
Or I'll completely because I have hobbies that I like to do. I roller skate, I play music. So I'll get into a hobby to kind of take my mind off of it. So I think the trick is, the 3D, I was definitely aware of the 3D because there were times where I did feel triggered by it.
Now, how do you think you were able to get out of that negative mind? Or how did you, let's answer the question this way. Obviously from where you were in the beginning, that is a completely different version of who you are right now. Now, what would you say is the best advice you could give to somebody else for how they could train their mind to get out of that negative state? Like, what would be the best piece of advice looking back on things? Like, how can somebody start the process of changing and getting out of that negative mindset?
Reminding yourself that this is just the old story playing out and that circumstances do not matter. You're still going to get what you want.
Yeah. Like,
that's it.
Literally, that's the best answer. I had so many thoughts in my head, but I think she gave the best answer, because what is in front of you is just a compilation of everything that you had up here. As everything that's old comes out of here, you might see some unpleasant things. That doesn't mean that you fold. It actually means you dig your heels in deeper and you're like, watch me get it.
Exactly.
Watch me get it. Because if you've decided, as she did mentally, I want my SP by my birthday, this is what it is, then that's what it has to be. And you got to ask yourself some fair and honest and perhaps blunt questions. Do you want results now? Or do you want to live off of the excuses, and do you want to keep pushing things out? Because you can only have one or the other. Either we can feed into the 3D, we can feed into the circumstances, but every time you feed into the 3D, I want you to delay you getting your manifestation by 2 weeks. You know what I mean? I feel like some of you guys need a harsh check. Like every time you check social media, 2 more weeks added on. Every time you wallow in circumstances, 2 more weeks added on. I'm going to start creating stipulations for you guys, because it's you either want results or you either want to humor the old story. And it's like you've got to be stronger, because every time you pour a new bucket of water on the old story plant, but then wonder why the old story plant doesn't die, isn't it? That's not the way to go on with that. You've got to starve out the nutrients to the old story plant, even if it's in front of you, and only pour that bucket of water on the new story plant, what you want to grow. You cannot water the demons and then wonder why they come back for more and more food. You know what I mean? Sometimes ignorance and ignoring it is bliss. Focus on what you want and let's see what you want multiply. Because every time you keep feeding those demons, they're going to come back for seconds. They're going to come back for thirds. They're going to come back for fourths. Is it going to be difficult for them to look at you and for you to not feed them? Absolutely. But a new trained behavior is required if you want a new result.
Exactly. I think, one of the things I did want to mention was, before I manifested my SP back, we were in no contact, so that made it a little bit easier. I wasn't looking at his social media. I wasn't, trying to see what he was up to. I knew that would work against me.
Yeah.
So it was almost like I had to do like a mental health detox for myself.
Love that.
I didn't want to make this work harder than it had to be on myself. And
I love that.
And then you just kind of assign meanings. Like, for example, when he reached out to me before we reconciliated, he was very mean. He told me, I shipped all your crap out of here. You should receive it in a couple of days. He was very mean about it. And I could have taken that really negatively.
Yeah.
And focused on
that was an option.
And instead I saw it as movement. I was like, well, he's still reaching out, so it's movement, and I just kept going. So It's all about how you assign meanings to the things that are happening as well.
Did you take any type of actions to make your SP come back or reach out to you, or you just did your inner work?
I just did my inner work.
Bam!
Yeah.
I told you.
I gave him his space, and honestly, looking back now, the no contact with my SP was a blessing in disguise, honestly, because I didn't reach out to him, I didn't call him, I didn't want to be triggered. You know what I mean? I didn't want to make this work harder than it had to be on myself. So looking back, it was truly a blessing in disguise that we were in no contact.
Absolutely. Makes a lot of sense. And I mean, you did the self-concept work, you did the changing of SP work. And as you know by the equation, by the way, just to give you clarification, I just made that up. I just thought it was catchy, like manifestation equation, because after all my relentless years of self-study, I realized technically what we've got now is due to the fact that based on the current compilations of good assumptions and bad assumptions. So I saw a failed manifestation or a manifestation that maybe I didn't get thus far as me just failing the exam. So I did it as an equation that you have to solve for, where naturally the answers that you're getting wrong to the exam are all the limiting beliefs of self-conception, all the limiting beliefs of conception of object of desire. And when those two are solved for, then your exam comes back as a pass, as 100%. And that's how I interpreted when I read into manifestation, the easiest way to articulate it to people. As before, you maybe got 5 out of 10 questions correctly. But what's stopping you, from your next level is you've got to now change the answers to the other 5 questions to the correct answer. So that way this new level of your life can unlock. It doesn't mean you got all the answers wrong, but it means that the certain limiting beliefs that you have, they need to be inputted in a different answer for you to get a different result.
Exactly. I mean, that was a game changer for me, was your equation. And you made that up.
Yeah, I made it up.
Oh, that's amazing. No, yeah, it was a game changer for me. It really broke it down.
Yeah, I love it. It's amazing.
Yeah, thank you so much, Persis. I really appreciate everything you're teaching, everything you're putting out. Like, you guys, this really works. Just listen to her. Listen to her.
I feel like I need to scream that from the top of the mountains, because I just have such big goals and such big missions to help so many people that, obviously you coming on is just incredible. And I'm so happy that this work has resonated so deeply. And I can't wait to see where it's going to go for you. You know what I mean? Maybe I'll get a wedding invite soon. I have a lot of nice dresses,
Absolutely. That's actually something else I'm working on manifesting. So I'll keep you posted.
Yeah, perfect. I need wedding invites. I bought a bunch of dresses, so I am ready to go. I need events, guys, okay? Because I need you guys to chop a little bit. I have events that I need to go to. Yeah, exactly. Anyway, girly, thank you so much for coming on. Do you have anything else you'd like to end with? I think we've answered all the questions. I think the majority of them now are a little bit more geared towards me, so I don't want to keep you on any longer. Anything else you'd like to say, or shall I bid you adieu?
No, I think we pretty much covered it all.
Perfect. Awesome. So I am going to let you go. Thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule, and I'm glad we finally got to schedule this. I know I've been very busy, and you've been busy with your SP, so hey.
Yes, this was a lot of fun. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course.
Best of luck to everybody.
Yes, I will talk to you soon, my love.
Okay, thank you so much.
Bye-bye. Bye. Now, I am not bitchy. That is not who I am as a person. Okay, that is not who I am, and I just want to preface this by saying that. But isn't it just so crazy? So crazy that all of a sudden she made all these mental decisions and she stood firm in them, and then all of a sudden she has a completely different person in front of her that is calling her, blowing up her line and being like, hey, I want to be with you. Hey, can you give me a second chance? Then she gets other problems, and the guy comes to her I don't want to go to San Francisco, and she's like, we're going to San Francisco, and she just stays firm in that. And then all of a sudden he's like, listen, I got my tickets booked. I got your tickets booked. I got our hotel taken care of. Isn't it just so crazy? It must just all be a coincidence. It must just all be a coincidence. I'm not bitchy. I'm not bitchy. That's not who I am as a person. That's not who I am. I just want to let you know that's not who I am. Isn't it just crazy, though? Isn't it just crazy? I am completely flabbergasted. I am speckledorfed. I'm completely in awe. You know what I mean? I don't even know how this happened. I don't even know. This stuff just must not work at all. It's crazy, guys. It is just crazy. It is hard out here. You know what I mean? It is just hard. It is just hard. It is hard carrying the weight of the manifestation community on my shoulders, essentially, is what I'm trying to say. That's all I'm saying. But anyway, this live will be repurposed on YouTube. I assure you of that. As a matter of fact, what I'm going to do is, because this call was about 35 to 40 minutes long, what I will do is 43 minutes long. I will stop it now so that way I can upload just the live. And if anybody wants to come back in 10 seconds for a Q&A session with me, I will come back on and we can do a little bit of Q&A. Okay, does that sound like a deal? Just Dev, listen, I'm not bitchy. I just want to let you know that's not who I am as a person. That's not who I am. That's not who I am. No. Okay? Do you see the knots in my shoulders? It's because I'm just carrying this whole community. It's just because I'm carrying the community, that's all. So, I'm going to end this really quick. In 5 seconds, I'm going to come right back. All right? Perfect. Love you guys. And it will be up on YouTube. TikTok does take 1 hour to process the video. And then it'll go up. I promise. I'll be right back.